Welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast, strategies that help entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. Here's your host, Henry Kaminski Jr.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here with another Brand Doctor Podcast episode for you guys. And as we continue our Female Entrepreneur Showcase this week, I have another amazing guest on the show today. Again, this is a topic of discussion that is so important when it comes to building your brand, building your business, and having it be successful. You know, there's so many times that we go out there and we try to build a business and it falls short because we don't have one thing right and dialed in, and that's our mindset. So without further ado, I want to introduce Ruth Pozo from Minds to Empower. What's going on, Ruth?
Hello, people, community. I'm just so happy and blessed and grateful to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much. Listen, for those of you guys that have been following this series, I reached out to my Facebook community and I was like, we need to get more female entrepreneurs on the show. And when I reached out, I got so many responses from so many different people. Hey, you got to reach out to this person. This person's got to be on your show. This girl's a rock star. And so I'm so happy that you were recommended and that we're on the show together today, because you have a very interesting business. And so before we get into what exactly that business is, I kind of want to know your backstory on why you created this business to begin with.
So the reason why I started my business is because last year I went through a really rough time, and where because of I was dealing with the repercussions of my sexual assault, and all of that dealt with a lot of issues of unworthiness, on issues of not being good enough, on issues of because of a shame of my past, of a regret. It says, well, because of that, don't want to tell anybody because my scars are shameful and guilty. And so I went out in the world. I went to jobs, I did incomes, I did managers, and it was very successful, but yet I didn't feel good enough to do anything. My inside was not happy. And so everything that I tried to do kept failing and kept crashing down. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to do the 9-to-5 employee anymore, being managers. I want to do a business. But I know that I can't go into business if I don't deal with my baggage. If I don't deal with all of the clean up my business and skills, because skills I can learn. I can learn how to do this and this. But what does that matter if my mindset, if my heart is not into it and I'm still dealing with my past demons? So I'm going to face my demons, clear that stuff out, and then I'm going to go and do what I need to do. And in that learning journey of me healing, of me learning all these stuff, I started to see how other people were dealing with my same issues. We're dealing with everything I learned. And I was like, you know what? I just wanted to share with them, like, hey, look at this. This is what I learned. This is what you're doing. It's called the limiting belief. Let me shift your mindset. Let me pivot this. And I just started to talk to my friends, and they're like, you know what? You should charge for this. People need to hear this. People need to see what your message is. And I'm like, it's just me sharing what I learned, because I did this for myself, and I wanted to learn from the best of the best in the world. And I'm learning this. It was like, okay, you know what? You're right, because I keep going to these meetings, Eric events, and I keep hearing the same message over and over of people having these limiting beliefs, people having all these stuck issues, people don't want to talk about their shame and their guilt and that. I'm like, you're so great. You're so much greatness in you. And yet, what's holding you back? I'm like, I don't understand. You don't see what I see. And it's because of the limiting beliefs, because of their past, because of their pains. And I was like, you know what? Yes, I need to start talking about this. I need to start telling people what I know so they can see the greatness that's already inside of them. It's just they think, I got to buy a course. I got to take a pill to be great. No, greatness is already inside of you. You're just not used to seeing that, and you're not used to accepting that. And once you do that, you'll see how powerful you are. And that, when I tell people that, you're great just the way you are right now, not because you buy a course, not because you do this and this and that, they're like, really? Yes, who you are at this moment, with all your difficulties, with all the pains, with everything you've been, it's greatness just the way you are. Nothing has to change. All you got to do is accept yourself. And once I do that, people resonate so much, and they're just sending me messages like, oh my God, I really need to hear this. And that just made a call, like, if I can heal somebody, if I can help somebody out what I went through and help them go through, like, there's a light at the tunnel of this darkness, then that makes everything all the worthwhile for me.
I love it. I love it. I love the name of your brand too, Minds to Empower. I think it's straight to the point. I think it's very powerful. Like it gets people to think like, my mind is a very powerful tool. And if I'm not using it to its full potential, I'm not really living to my full potential. My business will never become as great as its full potential. And so I love that. Well, I don't want to say I love that. Let me watch my words here. I love that you're taking your true passion and you're taking something that happened to you that was so ugly, and you're flipping it and you're turning it into a positive and you're empowering other people. I mean, a lot of my purpose this year was to come out and explain, because I have been a victim of sexual abuse too when I was 10 years old. And I held this skeleton in for 37 years, my whole life, really. And when I found a awesome charity, A Voice for the Innocent, I reached out to them and I loved them so much. I said, I have to become part of this organization somehow. So what Unique Designz does is actually donates a portion of the proceeds every quarter to that organization. Not only do we do that, but we also help them with their marketing and promotions and all of that stuff. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful community. And I believe that because that happened to me in my life, that it's inspiring me to do bigger things in life and to help other people that may had something traumatic like that happen to them, and let them know, exactly like you, that it's okay. It's not your fault. There's other people out there that it's happened to, and we're all in this together. And, it never really kind of goes away, but it take that experience and do something good with it. Don't let it hold you back. And so, I feel like both of us are using that, for the good of making this world a better place. And so I just admire that. And it takes a lot of courage. And that's sort of where I want to go to next into the conversation is, why do people hold on to their past so damn much and let them dictate their future?
Yeah. And that's a question I've been asking myself a lot, and I'm looking into, because I want to let go of everything. So I was like, why am I holding on to this stuff? And what I've come to realize is that once we experience pain, it's an ugly thing, right? And do we really want to go deep into it and face it? No, we don't. It's like a fear. We rather hide it. We rather bury it. We rather ignore it. We rather play it small, like, oh, it's no big deal. It's okay. We rather do that instead of facing the pain and looking at it and acknowledging it. Because we rather either run away or ignore it, but we don't want to face it. And that's the thing, because since we don't face it and just acknowledge it, it's not about you blaming anything. It's just acknowledge the pain, acknowledge your wounds, acknowledge all of it without judgment. That's a key. When we go into something, a past regret, a past experience, any of that, we go into with judgment. Oh, I should have done this, or because of this, I wasn't strong enough because of this, I should have done that. Look at that. Look how silly I was. Look how stupid I looked. And you look at this. And you're like, well, if I'm going to have all that narrative in my head, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I already feel bad enough. I don't want it more. So you rather bury it or run away kind of thing. And so it's about acknowledging it without any judgment, saying, yes, this is what I did. This is what happened at the moment. That's it. No good, no bad, just acknowledging it. And knowing that when you're facing that fear, when you're facing that pain, you are safe, you are sound, and you're still good and whole. No matter what you saw, no matter what you did, you're still good and safe. And having that thing where I can hold on to some light. And that's what most people do. People go into their fears, people go into their pain with darkness instead of holding something good with them to remind them you're good, you're whole, you're worthy now, no matter what. And looking at it and acknowledging it. But we don't, and we run away from it and we bury it because we just don't want to face it. We don't want to deal with uncomfortableness. We're like, we'd rather watch TV. We'd rather talk to somebody else. We'd rather dress up, buy some things to make us feel good, temporary solutions instead of facing it.
Yeah, getting to the root.
Yes, you got to get to the root. That's the whole thing, is because all these other things, if you don't get to the root, they sprout, they grow, and they become symptoms of other little things. And it affects every area of your life. It affects when you're a husband, when you are a friend, it affects how you are as a father, it affects how you are as a business person, it affects every other area. And you're like, why am I triggered? It's because this little thing that you think you're fighting about, it's not the real thing. It's about the root that you never dealt with. And so it affects everything. And until we come to a point that they're breaking home, we're like, my life is going crazy. I don't know what's going on. And you can no longer, you're fed up with it, that you're like, okay, I got to take a look at this. I can't hide it anymore. I can't deny it anymore. And then we go into, okay, let's look at this. But the problem with what that happens is that when we don't look at our pain, when we don't look at our fears, our shames, our mistakes, it's that buildup of bad energy of like sadness, disappointment, judgment, self-criticism, self-doubt. And imagine that into like a bubble of all that negativity in your body. And imagine every single time you went through it in your years of childhood, adulthood, teenager years, of every single moment you don't deal with it, and how many times we don't deal with our pains, it's like poison in our body. Because every time we want to do something good, every time we want to help somebody else, we have this unworthiness. I'm not worthy to do that. I'm not worthy to build my business up to the next level. I'm not worthy to have a better relationship because we're holding on to our past. And what I really learned from this one pastor, I forgot his name, was that when we hold on to our past, we are being so unfair to our destiny. Because when we hold on to our past, we are not accepting our destiny that's meant for us. How can we help somebody else if we are completely filled with all this negativity and pain? We cannot help ourselves or anybody until we help ourselves first. And that's the main thing, is that we don't want to face our fears because we feel our judgment. But if we let go of that judgment and just be honest with ourselves and know that we're safe and look at it and start releasing of that, we start to really take away all this toxic poison energy of emotions and mentality away from us. And once we do that, we're able to finally allow people to help us, people to say, you know what, your greatness. Because some people are like, oh my God, you're so good. We're like, no, it's okay. I'm not that good. We downplay it because we think we're not worthy because holding on to our past. And we block all the blessings that are already in front of us because we're holding on to our past self. It's like, let go of your past so you can embrace your journey, which is your destiny.
Oh, I love
and that's one thing I really learned a lot.
Oh my God, I love that. That's deep. And so I want to move this because I think very systematically so when we face our fear or we face our pain and we face that past and we look it dead in the eye and we don't judge it, and what happens next?
So we face it with that. We acknowledge. That's the first step, is acknowledgement. What happened, what you did, what you didn't do. And acknowledge also not only your mentality, but also your emotions. What are you feeling? I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling upset. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling shameful. Okay, that's okay to feel. It's bad or good. Just allow it. Just acknowledge the emotions that are coming up and be aware of what's triggering you. Being aware of you're like, okay, this part of that story is much more painful, or this part of the story I'm more okay with. And just being aware of everything that goes on with that and noticing the one part that's really triggering you into either more pain or more anger. All of that is just a sign from either life or God, whatever it is you believe in, that's the area where you need the most growth in. Wherever you want to up level, this is a part that's still holding on like an anchor, weighing you down. And that's where you got to look into more. And so for me, is I didn't want to deal with my sexual assault story because like I would just cringe and I'll be like, no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to say it. I'm just like, I'm not, no. Until I dealt and I saw with, okay, this is all the things that I thought about myself, that I was unworthy, that maybe I did something to deserve it. And once I acknowledged all of that, I wrote it all down. I allowed my emotions to cry, the yell, all of it down. I release it and I'm like, okay, that happened. Now, all that judgment that you have about yourself, like, okay, I should have done this. I felt unworthy. I felt dirty. I felt tainted. I felt that I was less than a person, a human being. And I was like, do you really believe all of that story is true? Do you really believe all those thoughts is really true?
So that's
all
the
that
next
negative
step.
story coming up in your tape, that's really, the next step is, do you really believe all that stuff is true?
And 9 times out of 10, it's not, I gather.
It's never is. The thing is that story that you've been having in your head, it's playing on constantly in every area of your life. And you created it. We're the ones who created it. Nobody told me that I'm tainted, that I'm dirty, that I'm less than a human being. I'm the one who's labeled myself with that story. And so because I'm the creator of that story, because I'm a creator, nobody told that about me. I projected that onto myself. Then I can be a creator and change that story. Say, you know what? That is not true about myself. That's how I felt that moment, but it's not true about myself because I've done so much other things where I've been a good person, where I've done this and this, where like I've been a good daughter, I've been a good friend. Like that is not true about me. I am still a good person. I'm still a person that is pure, that is innocent because I feel that in my emotions. So me being untainted is not true. Me being tainted and dirty is not true about myself. So what you do is the next step is look at your story that is playing in your head and ask yourself honestly, do you really believe this is true about yourself? And most of the times it's not. Actually, it never is. Because we labeled ourselves that way so we can justify what happened to us and say, okay, that was okay, and just let it go. That's the whole thing. It's like if we put that negative, horrible label on that action, we're never going to go back and do that again, and we're going to be safe from that feeling that pain ever again. But like we're say, like, no, that's not true about ourselves. And say, okay, what is true about ourselves? For me, it's take it to court. Take that story to court and say, do you really believe that's true? And take it to court. It's like, go to court. Like, do you really believe everything he says? What have you done in the past that you have proven them wrong? Because you already proved that story wrong. Is that you just don't acknowledge all of your past wins, the small things you've done in life, all the stuff you take for granted. That's why celebrating your small wins is so important. So you can realize how powerful you are, how good you are. And once that's why for the next step for me is like making a list of all the things that I've done good in this life, good in this world, that say, you know what, I am a good daughter. I'm a good person that does deserve a better respect because I've been respectful to these people, because I've been loyal to these people, because I've treated some people with humbleness when I didn't have anything. And I just start listing all the things that I've done that are good, that story is not true about myself. And as I look at that list, I'm like, yeah, I do deserve better. Yes, I am a good person. Yes, I do this. And like that story's not true. So the past is not set in stone. I can go back to that memory and change my label. Say, you know what? I'm no longer a tainted, dirty person that's less than a human. I'm a person that makes a mistake, but I'm a good person that's pure, that's respectful, that deserves a better life than this. And I deserve that. And I'm worthy of this. So I'm letting go of this. And once I make my list and letting go, because all that's emotional, it's very draining to look at your negativity.
Oh, yeah.
So you made your list, you breathe, you let go. I deserve this. And you do at the end, which is the third step, is self-care, which is most people don't realize. It's self-care. Now you got to love yourself. Now you have to bring yourself and love yourself and ask yourself, in this moment, what do I need to do to make myself feel better? It's not about fixing it. It's not about finding the cure. It's about, what can I do right now to make myself feel better? Because at that moment, you're like, oh my God, I did this horrible thing. I feel so bad. Okay, we acknowledge that. Now we're going to take a baby step and a glass of water at that moment. Sometimes just breathing in that moment, just relaxing and saying you're good and you're safe. Or sometimes it's that you want to dance, whatever it is. And you just, what do I want to do to feel better the next day? And just feel better and do that, act on that. And then do a lot of self-care, which is, if you believe that you deserve better, pamper yourself. So what I did was, you know what? I deserve better. I deserve to be pampered, to be loved, to be taken care of. So I went out, I went to the whole, like, got a facial, madi-pedi. I went out, I went to a restaurant. I didn't look at the price, and I just bought what I wanted to eat because I deserve that. And I was like, I'm going to buy what I want to eat. I'm going to get the dessert that I want to eat. And then I'm going to dress myself because I love myself. So I'm going to dress myself as I love myself. What do I look like that I want to wear? How do I want to embody myself? And I was like, this is what I want to wear because this is what makes me look good. This is what makes me feel good. So this is what it is for me. And I go out and I went out to the world thinking, this is what I want. And so I said, for me, was saying to the world, this is what I deserve. I deserve to be looked like this. I deserve to be treated like this. I deserve to have food like this. I deserve to be pampered and loved and respected. So I'm going to act on this. And when I did that, it felt a lot better. And sometimes for other people, it's just taking a bath. Taking a bath, putting some candles, listening to some good music, and just relaxing. Whatever it is, everybody's going to have a different self-care. But it's just mainly love yourself at the end. Know yourself that you're whole and worthy of it. And saying, I'm choosing to let go of this. I'm choosing to let go of that pain. And at the most important is forgiving yourself. I forgive myself that I made that mistake. I forgive myself that I got into that relationship. I forgave myself that I made those decisions to stay with them, even though I saw the bad behaviors. I forgive myself for not listening to my family members who say, you know what, doesn't belong to you. I forgive myself for allowing what happened to allow. And then also I forgive myself for being so hard on myself, for thinking that I was unworthy, for thinking that I didn't deserve better, for thinking that I was ever my fault, that I ever did something to initiate it when it never was. And I forgive myself for that, for the judgment, for the criticism, for the pain, for all of it. And I forgive myself for how I reacted, how I feel still today. And I'm saying, all I do is this. One thing that I always do every single morning is I say, Ruth, I'm proud of you for this. Ruth, I forgive you for this. And Ruth, I still commit to you for this. And every day I let go of something. I encourage myself. And at the same time, I commit to myself to you know what? One thing that I commit to myself is this. I'm always going to try. I'm not perfect. So I may fall again. I may make a mistake again. I may cry again. But it's okay. I'm going to get back up. No matter how I fall down, how hard I fall down, I'm going to get back up. Okay.
I want to tie that into business right now, and tie that into entrepreneurship, and tie that into building brand and building business, and how important that is to take care of yourself first before you can, take care of other people and take care of your business. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, then your brand isn't going to grow, because your brand is a living organism. It's a living, breathing organism. And if you're not feeding it the right nutrients, if you're not giving it the right mindset to operate on, AKA the operating system that the business works on, it will die. It will wither away. And so I love that you're spending the time on this, because it's so important. We get so wrapped up in taking care of others, taking care of our business, making sure this is done, making sure that's done, that we don't take the time to worry about ourselves for a second. And I'm not saying, be a selfish prick, but what I'm saying is you have to make sure that you take care of that inner child first before you can help other people. Again, you've heard this 1,000 times, but there's a reason why when you travel on an airplane, they tell you to put your mask on first. That they didn't pull that out of a hat. That's not some arbitrary thing that they made people do on purpose. It's if you don't have oxygen, then you're not going to have oxygen to give it to somebody else. And so it's so important to make sure that your mindset is right. I'll give you another quick story. I mean, I had a pretty interesting January, if you will. And, I had some things that I was dealing with inside of me that really had me in a funk for a while. And when I was in this funk, there were so many things inside of my business that I was letting go, or I was saying to myself, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore because I don't think I'm good enough, to be honest with you. I don't deserve that client because I don't have my shit together. And all of it was bullshit. And until I got a mentor involved that I hired, and I hired him to help me develop my business. And next thing you know, those turned into like therapy sessions. And one of the things that he mentioned was, and he's awesome, like he will leave each call with a positive note. Like he goes, we're not getting off this call until we leave it with something positive. And he had said something to me that it just hit me, and it snapped me out of that funk in 2 seconds. He's like, I've been in business for 22 years. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of mentorees and students. He's a teacher as well. And he said, I never met somebody like you for the fact that they would find something that works and absolutely implement it within hours, not days, not months. He said, you bought one of my products and you put it to work that day. And he says, I've never met somebody like that before. So you should be proud of yourself. Like, you are a courageous person for doing that. And I thought to myself, shit, I am worthy of that client. I've been doing this for 10 and a half years. I know my shit. Yeah, I made a mistake. Yes, we will fix it. Yes, we will correct it. Yes, we will move on. And if it wasn't for him to sort of snap me out of that, and, you know, they call it pattern interrupts, you know, if he wasn't there to kind of just, I would have still been in that funk. And so find something that's going to crack, you know, that funk, because we all get in it. And next thing you know, it's 2, 3, 4 weeks, a couple of months, and our business isn't growing. We aren't growing. We feel like we're stale. We feel like, and then like you said, Ruth, we start to put all this negative energy inside of us and inside of our minds. And next thing you know, it's like, what are we even in business for? We should just quit, right? And it's so, your mind is a powerful tool. It could work for you and it could work against you. And, you know, I'm a big firm believer, if you don't continue to put that positive energy into your body as gas, as fuel, you know, you're going to lose. And so, you know, when it comes to building business and building brand, and these limited beliefs start to kick in, you know, I love what you said here. I want to recap. You know, you want to set little goals and celebrate small wins. You mentioned something about making a list of all the good. You know, funny little story with that. You know, every time when I was in my early 20s and I just moved out on my own, I would get into these funks. And I would call my dad, and my dad and I would have these long conversations, and he always brought it back. Like, he was like, you don't know how lucky you have it. You know, look at the car you drive. Look at that. Look at the work that you do. Look at the, you know, you have a job. You're 22 years old and you're living on your own. You know, how many other kids that are 22 years old are still living at home? And he would pump my brain full of these things that I did have versus what I don't have. And I would be floating at the end of the call, because it was like, I realized that I was so fortunate. I was so blessed. And we're so critical on ourselves that we forget all the good. We only want to look at the bad. And, you know, I don't know where that comes from, Ruth. Like, do you know why people tend to focus on the negative more than the positive?
I think it's just our cultural society, and the thing that we want to be the best, right? We want to be the number one. So we always look at what's the problem? What can I fix? What's a negative, right? And we don't learn to, like, if we're just a blank piece of paper and there's just one dot of black, that's all we look at, but we don't look at the empty space. We don't look at anything. Why? Because we always ask, what's wrong, right? If we ask the universe or life or God, whoever you want to call, what is wrong? Why did I lose a client? Why is my business not working? You ask a negative question, you're going to get a negative answers. We're like, okay, life is going to point out every single thing that's wrong. But instead of asking yourselves, why is something bad? Ask yourself, what can I do to make my business be better? What is it that I need to do to get that client back? How can I add more value to get more customers? Add the positive questions, add the good stuff. And once you do that, life will give you back all the good things. It'll start to point out all the blessings you have in life. You're like, well, look at this. You can fix this. You can do this. We can do this. And so instead of us focusing, why is it wrong? Don't focus, why is it wrong? Why is it bad? What's not working, the business? Focus on the good part. Focus on the action part. Focus on the proactive part, which is like, what do we need to do to fix it? Well, how can we make it better? Well, how can we add value to this? Focus on the good, not on the bad. Because what happens is that scientifically, even Tom Billy says it, our brain is a machine that's going to make any thought that we want come true. That's its purpose. So if we say, brain, why did I lose a client? It's going to tell you, it's going to like, okay, I need to make that true, because that's just a thought. But if we believe it, it's a reality. So our brain is saying, okay, that is true. So we need to prove that what Ruth said is true. So we're going to have to find all the ways that what she said is true. So my brain is going to start looking in life like, wait, this is all the bad things. But if I say, brain, what can I do to get a client back? Or how can I add more value to get more clients? Our brain says, okay, if you want that to be true, I'm going to find a way to make all that true. Because our brain makes it all of that.
Yeah. So you have to ask, you're basically saying, ask the world what you want and it will give it to you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny you say that because it's so creepy. I was telling you off camera how I was just some funny things have been happening lately. Like this whole setup with the multi-camera views and the technology. I was having some real tech issues for a couple of weeks. I couldn't get this program to actually work, right? And I said to my media coach, I will find a way to make this work. Yes. And within like 2 days, Ruth, I was in the shower and I was like, oh, damn. Zoom has a multi-camera functionality and we just started using Zoom again. Like, let's just go and try this real quick. And I did it and I was like, boom. And it was crazy because I asked and I said, I will find a way. And it just happened. And so I started doing it more. I was like, show me a high value client today. Show me a client that I can truly help and take to the next. And they just start showing up. It sounds so woo-woo, but it's so freaking true. So when you ask yourself, why did I lose this client? What went wrong? You know, the answer is literally right underneath your nose. You just have to ask. And I will take it a step further and say, you got to ask it specifically. You know, what exactly happened today that made me lose that? And so, you know, I have people running in and out of programs all week long. People are joining, people are exiting, and I'm always asking them, why'd you join? Why are you leaving? You know, and because all of that information is so powerful for me to help me build the brand, help me build the business to a better business, a better brand. And so the questions are right underneath your nose. You just have to ask them. So I got to keep track of time because I do have another podcast interview right after this. So, you know, for those folks that are looking for, you know, some help and guidance when it comes to just building a very positive and strong mindset to help them build brand, to help them build their business, you know, what are some resources that they can go to and get some of that on a consistent basis?
Yeah, definitely. There's podcasts and YouTubes and all that stuff that you can go into. For me, what I really love is like super everything like, oh my God, that I go to a lot for myself. Also, a lot of things that I do is I go into meditation. Like, it's just some people do. It's like, for me, it was hard because I'm like, go, especially when you're business, you're like, you have a lot of things going in. So it's like, start small. And for me, was the 2-minute meditation where like I would breathe in, and he's like, as you breathe in, just think about everything of strength, everything that empowers you, everything that you want. And as you breathe out, release all that negativity, all the things you're stressing about, and release. And so we just did 2 minutes, like in and out, and just let it go and just allow everything to do. And I did 2 minutes. And after that, I just kept adding into the minutes of it. And that helps, just breathing. When you're stressed, when in the moment you're most peaked, like you're stressed, you're fruitful, in that moment, remember that there's nothing you have to do. That's the one thing I want to know. There's nothing you have to do. Anything you get to do, and you get to choose what you desire to do. Everything on your list of things that you think you have to do, don't worry about it. Just do what you want to do, because everything else, life, the universe will take care of it. If there's had a client you were supposed to speak with and you didn't have the time, they're probably going to call you back and say, you know what? Don't worry about it, because I also had another meeting, or it's okay, we can reschedule. I understand. life will take care of everything else. You just got to do what you desire to do, and everything else will take care of itself. And the reason why it's so important is because when you do what you desire to do, and in that moment when you're stressed, just breathe. Because it's like, you know what? I'm in power. I'm in control. I know what I'm supposed to do. Just relax, calm your nerves down so you can have clarity. Because when you're stressed, when you're running around, you have no clarity. When you have no clarity, how can you function at your best to make the most productive for your business? You can't. Yeah. You got to calm down, ground yourself, breathe. And with that clarity, you'll be like, okay, what is it that I need to do next? And you will find the steps you need to do, and you will do them. Like, okay, I do this. And the things that like, I should have done this, like, don't worry about it. Whatever is supposed to get done that day, it's going to get done. Even if you don't set the intention, it's going to get done. And everything that you can do tomorrow, that's not like the biggest thing, which even though you think it is, it's going to be moved to another day. Life is working for you. Life is never happening to you. It's working for you. So all you got to do is let go and trust that life is blessing you and helping and supporting every single step of the way. And it's going to be there. So if you didn't take care of something, life is kind of like big brother saying, don't worry, I got this. I'll make it another day. I'll make this happen for you tomorrow. And I'll make sure that it doesn't go bad. And people will be like, coming, oh, don't worry, I get it. I understand. We can reschedule. We can do this. It works better. Like life will work around your schedule. As long as you show up in the world with the desire, like this is what I desire to do and good. And the most important thing, no matter what, is gratitude. That's the thing. Gratitude. It's the most important. You start it's like your morning routines and your night routines are it's changing your mindset. Is morning, let go of the past. Let go of everything you did yesterday. Like I should have done this. Like what I do is like I forgive myself for not returning that phone call that I was supposed to do yesterday. I forgive myself that I didn't finish that proposal that I was supposed to do for the business. I forgive myself, you know what, that I lost a client. Whatever it is of yesterday, of the past, let it go. What did you do good? What small win? Gratitude. What small win that you're thankful for, that you glad yourself that you celebrated? Let that go. And then every day is just gratitude. Like look at what you do have. Don't ever look at what you don't have. Like your father said, everything. When you're like, I should have this. Well, if I want a better car, what do you have? You have a working car right now, and be grateful for what you have. Like if I want a better car, I have to start being grateful for the car that I have right now. I'm so thankful for a car. I love you that you take me from place A to B. You give me a car. I don't have to be in the rain. I have the air conditioning. And the more I'm grateful for what I do have, life is going to be, oh, you're so grateful for this? Okay, then I'm going to give you something better. But why should I give you more if you're not grateful for what I've given you so far? Because you're telling life, you know what, life, I don't deserve something better because like I'm not grateful for anything. Like, why am I? But I'm like, life, I deserve something better.
One of the biggest takeaways I got from this conversation, Ruth, is paying attention to how you speak to yourself and the language that you use. I've picked up a few things that from you just in this short conversation, you know, forgiving myself, be grateful, and say it to yourself, say it internally, say it in the mirror, and watch how you speak to yourself. If you're constantly calling yourself stupid, your brain and you are going to believe it. And so the more you tell yourself that you're the best, entrepreneur on the planet, you're the best course creator, you're the best dentist, you're the best, doctor, right? You're going to eventually become that. There's a whole saying on my wall, and you can see it right behind me. You know, what you focus on the most is what you're going to become. And there's the picture of the lion there. You know what I mean? And there's a reason why that's on my wall. Every time I walk into this office, I see it. And it makes me remember how good I am. And I'm not saying it in a cocky way, but, I use the 5-minute journal every morning. And, you have to create an affirmation for yourself every morning. And that is, I am the best brander and designer on this fucking planet because I believe it.
Yes.
And I just let it go. And that's it. That's how I start my every day. And that's what I want you guys that are watching and listening to do every day. Because when you believe it yourself, your audience will start to believe it. Your brand will begin to believe it. And you will start to see a huge change in how people interact with you and perceive you and your brand. So real quick, Ruth, for those that want to get in touch with you, for those that want to connect with you on social media, where can we go?
So you can go to Facebook and I'll just find me as Ruth Pozo and you'll find me right there. And Instagram, same thing. It says I am Ruth Pozo and you'll find me right there. And daily I go live on my personal page mostly to go talk about every day. Sometimes once a week that I go in, I give a lesson about forgiving, blessings, and how to release trauma, how to release this, all these things. And that's how you find me. And one thing I would leave off last message is that external reality is a reflection of your internal reality. So whatever you say to yourself inside, that is what the life is going to be outside for you. Everything you're external is because that's how you believe you should be treated, talked to, and deserved. So focus on your internal conversations, the ones that we never focus on, because those are the ones that matter how we affect and do anything in life. And it's never selfish to take care of yourself and fill your cup first, because that's what I learned the most. When you give to your brand, when you give to your business, when you help it, you give from the overflow. So first you have to fill up your cup, and from the overflow, you're supposed to give to everybody else, because that's how you skip burnout. And we're like, I'm so burned out. Why? Because you didn't fill up your cup. Fill up your cup and everything else is extra. And you being happy, you can give somebody else, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So it's not being selfish, it's being self-full. And you're never going to be arrogant, because in order to help somebody else, you got to help yourself first. And that's the most thing I learned in my life.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Ruth Pozo from Minds to Empower. Thank you so much for spending time with us today and sharing your wisdom and sharing your greatness and just sharing that energy. I got some great energy from you today, and you got me fired up because we're getting pounded with snow as I speak. So it's like, I can't get out. But anyway, you got me fired up for the rest of the day. I'll tell you that. So real quick, guys, go check her out on social media. She told you where to go. Real quick, guys, if you haven't joined the Brand Doctors Hangout on Facebook yet, go over to that group right now and become part of the tribe. If you haven't shared this podcast or subscribed to it with a friend or a colleague yet, I thank you in advance, and I encourage you to do that. I will be here every single time trying to help you with strategy to help you build a better brand and a better business and a better you. So I hope you got some value out of this one. Ruth dropped some bombs on us today. Go out there, apply it, take action on it, and watch the transformation. I will catch you on the next episode, guys. Talk soon.
You've been listening to the Brand Doctor Podcast with Henry Kaminski Jr. To get your appointment with the doctor, visit Brand Audit at www.uniquedesignz.net.